Welcome back. As more states consider similar legislation to Florida's Parental Rights and Education bill, the state of Alabama actually taking it one step further, banning gender-affirming medical care for transgender minors. The White House offering this response.
Laws and policies preventing care that healthcare professionals recommend for transgender minors may violate the Constitution and federal law. To be clear, every major medical association agrees that gender-affirming healthcare for transgender kids is a best practice and potentially life-saving.
Joining us now to discuss is founder of the Pocketbook Project, Jennifer Nassar. Also with us, Newsmax contributor Tom Borelli, alongside the Director of Membership Development for Project 21 Black Leadership Network, Donna Jackson. Great to see our panelists on this Friday here. Jen, we'll start with you. I know you are a mother, so you have a particular interest in this story. What do you make of what's happening in Alabama, and then also what the White House had to say?
So, look, every state is entitled to make their own laws. And if you don't like it, you're also entitled to move out of that state. Number one. Number two, as far as what Jen Psaki said, I feel that the federal government has a lot more on their plate than actually having to deal with this. As a parent, I will say this. I have 3 daughters. I have a 10-year-old. She is starting puberty. She goes one day, she wants to be a dog walker. The next day, she wants to be an astronomer. And the next day, she wants to be an architect. So their views change every single day on what they want to be. I think that if we look at this on a rational basis, go based on how old you can be when you join the military, how old you have to be to have a driver's license, how old you have to be to buy alcohol. And lastly, we don't allow children to go and get their own passports without their parents. They cannot make these decisions that will forever change their lives without some sort of guidance. And this is ridiculous. Parents doing this are trying to prove a message and prove what they believe in rather than think about their children.
Yeah, Tom Borelli, your thoughts even on the White House's response that perhaps these moves, these transitions could be best practice or life-saving?
Well, I mean, what concerns me most, again, is the politicization of science. We just went through this with the various vaccines. Now we're going to go through this with these hormone puberty-blocking drugs. And you have to take a big step back, because when a child feels they want to be a different gender, well, that's a feeling. And then there's the consequence when you introduce these powerful drugs to block normal biology. So obviously there's going to be a biological adverse consequence. One of the known ones that people look at when these kids are given these drugs is bone density. They may have more fragile bones, and that's going to go on forever. Clearly, the easiest way and the lowest risk way is to deal with the psychology of the child. But the problem here is, again, this whole thing is going to be politicized. As just mentioned, we have better things to worry about, especially what's going on in our country, rather than get involved in these sorts of issues. But again, I think everything's going to be politicized, and I think at the end, children are going to be hurt.
Yeah, the children. We're going to keep an eye on that story. Let's pivot slightly, though, to another one making news. This has to do with Florida's Parental Rights and Education bill. Well, LA County is weighing in on this. We've got the officials there banning official travel to Florida over DeSantis's bill. DeSantis' team, though, has a response. You see it on your screen there. The woke bureaucrats running LA County are shooting themselves in the foot with their political grandstanding. This misguided policy is a punishment for LA County employees, not for Florida. So if you work for LA County, Donna, you won't be able to travel to Florida. And at least from the governor's office there, they don't seem to be all that impacted by that decision. Your thoughts?
Oh, listen, Florida has made all the right decisions when it's come to COVID lockdowns, when it comes to parental rights, and Los Angeles and California has made all of the wrong move. Their state has the most number of people leaving because of restrictions, because of lockdowns, because of homelessness. And so they're not in any position to tell another state how they should be run when they've done so many things wrong, including the increase in criminal activity there. So kudos to Florida because they're not losing anyone.
Right. In fact, the people from California who are moving to Florida would not be bound by those rules set by LA County there. We'll keep an eye on that story as well. Panelists, if you could, stay with us. We'd like to get your take on this. Coming up, multiple top Democrats catching COVID after attending former President Barack Obama's White House event. So does that qualify as a super spreader? Our panelists weigh in next.